So the date is the 24th of May 2025. What's the time, Dad? Let me find out what the time is. The time today is 10:37, and we're being charged at 6p per hour at the moment by SSE. Right. So, based on the conversation we had, not even a conversation, based on the activities from yesterday when you arrived, we came to pick you up from Heathrow Terminal 2, myself and Anita. Yesterday at the dinner table, I expressed, in terms of action and events, a certain pattern of behaviour. From the moment me and Anita left home, to arriving at the airport, from your emergence from the exit gate, to waiting for Anita to go until W. Smith, to the return to the vehicle and wait for Anita to pay for a ticket, and then the drive home.
Okay.
Subsequently, the issues, not subsequently, but after that, noticing that there's a change in the bathroom. I mentioned that as well. And also mentioned afterwards, you had to go to the doctors. We all left again. I had to go pick something up from High Street. I left my own once you were part of the doctors with Anita. I went to Cash Converters. I came straight back. Well, I went to Cash Converters. Before going to Cash Converters, I went to one of those bizarre kind of shops in the High Street that has everything, because I was looking to purchase a bag. I then walked to Cash Converters from that store, and I walked back past the new construction, past the pub. It's on the corner opposite Wilco, right? I then met you inside Anita came out to open the car. Behind there was some van that was delivering, MJ were delivering mattresses and possibly carpet, but it was mattresses for definitely to a flat that was opposite the doctors. I believe those houses are white and black. Anita's vehicle's black. We'll get into details in a bit, right? So Anita opened the boot. She goes, I think you know how to open the boot. So I closed the boot off. I think you know how to close the boot. I closed the boot, pressing that red tailgate button, right? And the van was behind me. There's a gap in the van was behind me. And they said, are you leaving? As I was walking back into the doctors to come and sit with you two, or sit with Anita because you weren't there presently. And I said, no. At the van was a black man, and possibly a Muslim guy, very young, not very young, but younger, and a black man as well, who was probably the same kind of build as the mechanic that came here the other day. Right, probably same height as well. Right, so following that, we came home. I then mentioned there's something that's changed by this toilet. There's a white patch on the floor. It wasn't there before. I then put dinner on. Anita said she wasn't staying for dinner. She'll be back on Sunday. You had your mackerel sandwich. Sorry, before we got back, you went to Sainsbury's. You had made a list. You had to go and use the toilet. Anita went in originally on her own. She left the car, windows open, the radio on. You walked into Sainsbury's because you had to use the toilet. You then came back to the vehicle together, right? We then arrived home. I then saw there was something on the floor. Didn't mention it, but I mentioned it later. Anita made your mackerel sandwich. She left. I'd already had put dinner on. You went for a nap. What did I do? I came down to try and but to put the duvet in the dryer again. And then I also took a nap because prior to this evening, yesterday, I only had 2 hours sleep.
Okay.
That we can get into because it all kind of fits into this whole metaphysical world we're currently living in anyway. Or not, we've always been living in. Right? So, based on that, and based on the activity of yesterday, so going into some of the detail, leaving here, say about 7:10 maybe, in the morning to head towards the M4. We got Anita's car. She took the right, took the left, immediately left onto Langley Road. We drove down the road. We're heading towards St Mary's. As we get to St Mary's Junction, a black car passes on the right, Filtering from the left is a white car, hatchback, a black hatchback. In a black hatchback, there's a Muslim lady. All right, and these people followed behind us, behind me and Anita. Didn't think anything of it. We followed on, carried on. I thought it's gonna be one of these days again. Obviously, we're already in a what day is it? Friday, so it's not really a game day. So today's Saturday, Sunday game days, Champions League days, game days as well, match days, right? Or match A, right? So we go through this process. We get to the M4 end junction. We get onto the motorway, and then, based on the information that comes from the radio, sets of behaviour start to change. Internally, we're in the car of the driver, who's trying to create a certain outcome and environment. She said, I know, I can't recall what we were listening to on the radio, but there was a van that passed on the right-hand side. And I thought, that doesn't really make sense in a meta state, innit? Because, right, we're really focusing on...
Just a minute.
So now you want to call somebody, right?
No. Have you spoken to Anita since she left?
Why would I need to speak to Anita since she left?
I'm here. You just called me.
Yes, you did. You haven't said you got there.
Oh, yeah, I got there yesterday.
Oh, all right.
Of course I got there. I even sent Anthony a text yesterday.
Oh, okay. Fine. Okay.
I wonder what that's about. Is that about the £20? Of course, I got there yesterday.
Okay, go on.
And Ita got there yesterday, right?
Go on.
Cool. So based on that, based on something happened on the motorway, when we come to the motorway, we got on. We were getting off at a junction for Hayes, obviously, because we were going to go towards we were going to Terminal 2. There was a van. I just mentioned, okay, something's happening. It's not really scientific. It's more mathematical and it's more artistic. We're in a world of cubism, is what I mentioned to her. Merely because on the surface, everything looks great, right? It's controllable. You understand what's going on. It's the details of that are either rational or irrational. And the details of the van being there on the left of her was... The details of the van being on the left of her was irrational. Yeah, in a world of artistic world, where the radio's on, someone's having a conversation on LBC, and a van pulls up on the left of her on the motorway, which reflects a certain part of the conversation based on initials. Artistically, it fits in a media world. That's it. We also spoke about what Jacqueline did at uni while we were going past Langley Village. We decided it was media studies.
Go on.
Yeah. So, yeah, in the artistic world, it makes sense. But if you dig into the detail, there's no rationality to say it scientifically makes sense. Mathematically, the numbers fit. Scientifically, it's irrational. Right? So we carried on. So I could understand what kind of day we're having here. We got to the airport, same level she usually parks at. We waited for elevators for quite a long time. We waited at the terminal, which isn't a problem about waiting. We then came across this gentleman. It was where we were standing. As she was walking towards the barrier, there was a black woman. She was a black lady, right? And she kicked back her left foot, and I just stopped. And then somebody that works at Heathrow in a purple t-shirt, polo shirt, was hurriedly walking past. So she was in front of me. I was a gap between us, obviously, but she didn't see me. And he was hurriedly walking past. Right? Once he had passed, I decided to walk past that position. And then noticed there's another lady there, there was like a loose bit of tissue or serviette on the floor. But the manner in which she was facing forward was underneath her heel, and thus the square piece of tissue was therefore transformed like a diamond, right? And it was on her left foot. I didn't really pay attention to that. Then what I really paid attention to was the board, and on there was something regarding can you spot plainclothes police officers. I thought, okay, and that sign was blue. That advert or whatever was blue. That piece of media was blue. Now, in front of me, to the right of me, there was another black guy. He had a rucksack on. He just walked off and he said, wait here. It wasn't no one here, it may have been on his phone. I also noticed that attached to him, he had some items on his rucksack. Those items were orange and blue. Yeah? We'll carry this along. Then obviously there's the incident with the bag you brought out, green bag, a hand in your hand, which is a shopping bag, and you also had your suitcase, which was grey. A TSA suitcase, secured suitcase, whatever. And there's a passage of play there we don't need to go into yet. But the green items are important because of media and green screening. Just like the green van that was parked here in the driveway when it was doing some work. And there's something that occurred the other day on a Thursday. But then when we went out, things, entropy picked up, and certain patterns of behaviour in this local road changed. But the importance of the van being, it's important that the van was green and the size of the van because of green screen, right?
So the colour green
basically, if it
has got some implications of some sort.
It has and it hasn't. At this point, the colour green has implications in the media world and media setting to do with editing of photographs, of editing of camera footage. What we're doing here in this passage of play, and what's unfolding, which I'm trying to explain, is doing another shoddy, as like we are the cleaners of everything here, or I am, right? Things that have already occurred with Jacqueline that she's well aware of and she was down for doing. Things that occurred with Anita because she's working with Jacqueline and some other people. And that's part of that whole integration, assimilation within the local environment, which I was never part of. Now,
but you have worked with your sister as well, Anita.
It's different. I'll explain. It's a good question, but I'll explain. Now, where we are at the moment, with the explanation, I was trying to furnish the information, give details. So I'm coming back to what was on the shopping list. So we've left the airport now, right? Because those things, little events I can recall, that's fine. I don't need to get those details down. It was just there's periods where we left the airport. The Muslim lady walked in with a trolley full of suitcases, black suitcases, and that was after I shook my keys. I took my keys out of my pocket. I was behind me and I shook my keys. Right? We then made our way towards the door, the exit, sorry. And I noticed there was something there. There's a little display piece from Heathrow Terminal 2 of one of those guards from the Tower of London. But obviously some of that is old, so some of the writing and things been etched out. And you could never see this in the eyes of those guards, could you? Or those soldiers that wear those big hats. Yeah. Right. So they're probably plain sight and disappeared these days as well. That's at that point, and we walked over the side, and Anita went back in on your request because you wanted aspirin or paracetamol. Aspirin. And she says, "Is there a Boots here?" To me, I said, "There's not. I don't think there's a Boots. There's a WH Smith down the other side," which means she's going back towards where she was, past that environment to WH Smith, the blue store. Yeah, past the sign again, which I said was blue. On the left-hand side, she'll pass that. Then exiting again. She's then exiting the terminal again where we are standing. Yeah. Where we stood at that point, there's a number of people that walked past and met a number of different narratives. There's obviously the woman with the big dog, which kind of had an item on the back of it because the dog may have had surgery or something on its back. I remember we mentioned the bed that people have been playing in this house, and there's something wrong with that bed that Mum had purchased. The frame would become crooked somehow. And I had to secure it with all kind of brackets. You were observing all those things. Yeah, trying to. For me, but I shouldn't. I don't think it. Right. So there's an important thing you said at dinner time when we're eating. Go on. About how you should be living and thinking. You're never gonna move forward in life. If you constantly have to think like that. That's right. And it's not about actually how you're thinking about my life's rubbish, blah, blah. It's literally thinking the way you are and actually how you're processing information, right? Now, before we get there, so we've left the airport. We've left where we were standing. As we're walking, so it's important, as we walk towards the queues, there's a group of men that stand in the corner, and one of them says £6,000 and chuckles. Because there's a load of disorder all of a sudden, based on the fact that, based on what happened after I shook my keys and that woman came through, the Muslim lady came through with those suitcases. There's a load of disorder that started to happen. And then they laughed, and I thought to myself, That £6,000 is close to my annual salary. Yeah? I think the comment they made was like, what, £6,000?
£6,000.
Right. So,
And you sorry?
hold on. So, we waited in the queue. Behind me in the queue was a guy who had a stud in his right eyebrow. I'll go back to that. But that's someone else. There's two, there's an overlap, but that's between someone that's in a picture from years ago, 2004, and someone that works at Terminal at Heathrow. A security. Yeah, there's an overlap there. Where we were forming an overlap. You were to my left, in front of me. The guy was behind me. We're waiting for the queues. Yeah. We got up to the floor. We finally were allowed out of the elevator. We took the right to the car. She opened the boot. To the left was a payment machine, a blue payment machine. To the left, to the right of that payment machine was a black man sitting on the bench, who nodded to the payment machine to his right. He flicked his head to the right, leant to the right, expressed something or another. As we were walking towards the car, there were two white men behind us, so you wouldn't have seen it, that crossed our path. So at that point, Anita looked across. That would have been a sizing experiment there, or sizing thing, to do with payment, right? It was to do with payment again, because nobody, that comes afterwards, that's to do with payment again. I went to the boot. Behind the boot, there's a blue sign, parent and child. I put the bag into the boot, put the other bag in the back as well, and I got into the car on the left hand side, sitting behind you, right? She then came into the car, we exited the car park. There was then a conversation between you and Anita. I think it was about Jacqueline, was it? As we were exiting, the barrier lifted, as we were exiting during the queue of traffic on the ramp, there was some conversation with LBC. Now, regarding the payment thing, we already had a conversation as we're exiting. So exit, and there's an exit. There's an exit from the terminal, an exit from the car park, and an exit from Heathrow. You'd say out from darkness into light.
Yes. Okay. From the area.
Yeah. So those are the kind of domains, the switch domains. You say environmentally kind of natural domains, because it's still the same. You say still Heathrow, but it's not. So the first one, in terminal we're exiting, there's a conversation about compensation, and nobody pays compensation anymore. With something that continued when we were just about exiting or going over the ramp. Yeah.
Go on.
And then there's a thing with the payment machine, right? So those are three. There's a continuum, you'd say, of events. Now, when we go back to the home, there's an issue with the shower again. That's about compensation as well. Right? I already said about the toilet. I'm not doing anything in that bathroom toilet again. So even the cleanliness of it, and I said it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I said something because the bath works, the shower works, right? The shower cubicle as it is, it works. But when we arrived back yesterday, the dial or gauge has changed. It doesn't flick all the way to cold anymore. So you can't get cold water from the shower head. So I thought someone's definitely been here. And I said at that point I should clean the shower cubicle before we went to High Street, right? It's a smell of poultry. Poultry amount, compensation money. Someone's definitely been here. There had to be with that phase while we're out.
Musket boy.
Right? So then, the toilet was the only thing, right? So then we went out again. I went to pick up this mini what's it called, this mini circular saw. Successfully did so. They held on for me. The woman behind the counter was having casual banter with a colleague. I think she might have just started. Was asking some questions. Right, simple to ask questions, isn't it? Right, so I made my way back to the doctors. I mentioned I read the guy in the van. I walked in the doctors. You had to go and get your bloods done, a urine sample. That's success. There's some other things that are unfolding there. I won't mention those right now because there's 2 cameras in the doctors anyway. Right. Next, we leave the doctors. We head to Sainsbury's. Stayed in the car. Came back. You picked up items. What was the original list? You wanted sausages, bread, kiwi, cheese. You got cottage cheese, correct? You got correct cottage cheese as well,
and eggs.
right? And eggs.
Yeah.
Now, during our conversation, you mentioned about bananas and mature bananas, as in they got too much sugar. Too much sugar, right?
Yeah.
And well, not banana, mature bananas. You said that bananas are too sweet.
So yellow bananas.
And that's about edible bananas. My battery's probably gonna die. But actually, let me phone just ring. I can call him back. It won't be the doctor. You see? Hello. Hi. Yes, it's a Hush Medical Centre. Oh, Specsavers. Okay, I'm actually his son. Do you need to actually speak to him? 3:10 tomorrow afternoon. Yeah. Okay. Dad, are you diabetic?
Diabetic?
Yeah. No?
I've never known.
Never is unknown. He's just had his bloods taken recently, so we'll find out if he is. Any family history of glaucoma?
Glaucoma? No, I'm not aware.
Unaware. Do you receive benefits from the government other than your pension? Actually, it's not government.
Only the pension.
But that's not government, is it?
Yeah, it's not pension, government pension.
Just pension. $10 Thanks, Simran. Thanks. Bye. So, sorry. Yeah, $10 There's information there: glaucoma, diabetes, $10 and pension.
There was a questionnaire I was supposed to answer. I haven't answered it. Maybe that's why they called.
It's fine. Fill out anyway because I might have given them wrong information. But anyway, people are moving quickly, so they're doing a freeze. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, casual inference. But make sure you document anyway if you're happy because
it's 10:10 now.
No, it's 10:03 is your appointment tomorrow.
They brought it forward.
Number 1.
They brought it forward. This is from Tanzania. Hello, Gaga.
You're going to get my
Matata waongeramo.
charger.
Pole bwana, nasikia huko mnakutana na mambo yanatisha. Ngoja nipige au?
Oh yeah. Auntie Dora's son.
Nifika salama. Mungu mwema. Safari ilikuwa nyepesi kwa sababu ya maumivu. Ndio. Lakini nilifika niko vizuri. Nimeshafanya mambo mengine kama jana nimeenda kwa daktari, nimemwona daktari hapa. Ndio. Na kesho tena naenda kumwona daktari wa macho. Ndio. Alafu mambo mengine yatafuatilia hivyo.
Lakini umepata huduma nzuri.
Sasa nimeshangaa muda huu nimefanikiwa kwa haraka. Mbona kuja miaka mingine wanakuja mpaka nashindwa, narudi sijaona daktari.
Lakini
halo
naam, nakusikia.
unasikia?
Ndio nakusikia.
Sasa ndio